Hey y'all, it's Miss Johnson. Welcome back to Learning Math on YouTube. Here's what's going to go down. I've already posted the assignment. There is a regular assignment version where you make a document, you submit it, or you make a picture of a worksheet, you submit it, no problems. There's also the quiz version. You don't have to do both. If you do the quiz version, please upload a document to the assignment part that says, I did the quiz version. It makes organization a lot easier for me. And then as always, if you're having problems, Teams message me. That's the way to get to me fastest. To come to office hours, join the main chat, at me in the chat, and then I'll come. I'm probably just doing laundry or something. All right. There's two parts to today's assignment. The first part, like the first part of the Kahoot, is just identifying which rule to use on different problems. So we're looking at structures, we're interpreting kind of patterns. And then the second part is actually taking some derivatives, right? So I'll do a couple examples just to see what they look like. And then it'll be your turn. What happened? Okay, thank God. That's about the whatever. Anyways, part one, identify which rule to use. There's three answers. Some will have more than one answer, but it's the product rule. And that's when we have something multiplied by something else. The quotient rule, and that's when we have something divided by something else. And the chain rule, and that's when we have something composed with something else. And that's when we put a function inside of another function composition. All right, so here I'm identifying there definitely seems to be two functions being multiplied. So product rule is going to be one of my answers. But then I'm also noticing that there is a function inside of sign. That's composition, so chain rule is also going to be another one of my answers. Bada bing. That's all you have to do. You do not have to take the derivative. If you want to take the derivative, stay tuned for the end of this video, but I'll cut it when we're actually doing what we're doing. All right, the first thing I noticed about this second one is that there's a division symbol, right? That it's a fraction. We've got something divided by something else. That is the quotient rule. And then again, we seem to have a function inside of another function. The other way to write this is sine x to the power of 4. And that's definitely an inside function and an outside function, leading us to think that we'll also need the chain rule if we want to do this derivative. Again, this is a finished answer for part one. This is a finished answer for part one. No need to take the derivative. We're just identifying the pattern that's going on. Nice. All right, part two, taking the derivative. This is when it's nice to have your notes off to the side, right? So we don't have to be like, what was the derivative of secant? What was the product rule? It's nice to have your notes. I'm going to stop writing them because at this point, I'm kind of demanding that you have them. Sorry about it. I'm not actually that sorry. All right, if we are taking the derivative here, the first thing we're going to do is basically what we did upstairs, which is note that we need the product rule. You don't have to write this. This is just how I take notes. I'm a really external brain person. I like taking a lot of notes. So the product rule says we have the function multiplied by the second derivative, or the derivative of the second, plus rewriting the second times the derivative of the first. I like to take notes like this to tell myself what's going on. I'm going to label this as f and this is g. And now I'm going to take some derivatives. Now I'm going to rewrite some functions. I'm just going to rewrite f here because that's what my pattern tells me to do. I'm just going to rewrite g here because that's what my product rule pattern tells me to do. Now I'm going to take some derivatives. Now I'm going to say here is where we put the derivative of this part. And that derivative is 48x to the third. I got that because I did 12 times 4 times x to the power of 1 less than the question. Boom, boom, boom. Now I need to take the derivative of the first. The derivative of secant is secant tangent. Wow, almost had enough room there. And now I'm done. That's a finished problem. If you want to get good and practice at simplifying things, be my guest. I will grade anything, but that's a finished problem for me. No need to simplify. Great. And then here, I'm going to notice there is an inside function and an outside function happening to it. So I'm going to take my notes and say that's the chain rule. I know that it's going to be f prime of rewrite g times G prime. So I'm like having my pattern out in my head. Let me move this up here. And then, so let's see, the derivative of the outside is 5 times something to the fourth, because the outside function is just something to the power of 5. That's the power rule. We take the exponent down, we knock it down by 1. Bada bing. I'm going to rewrite G. I'm going to straight say all this stuff under the wavy line, I'm just going to rewrite it inside. Did nothing to it, right? One derivative at a time. I already took a derivative. I'm not doing 2 at the same time. Boom, rewrite. Now I put a multiplication symbol, big parentheses. And now I take the derivative of the inside. Now I say that's 20x minus 12x squared. I got 20 by doing 10 times 2. I got 12 by doing 4 times 3. And then I knock each of these exponents down by 1. That is, again, a finished question. I could simplify this, but why on earth would I want to? That's the end of the video. I'm going to cut it here. If you just want to do the assignment, go for it. As a fun fact, I'm going to keep going and take these derivatives, but this is a fun fact, and at this point, you can do the assignment without watching on. So let's do some... This video is going to get a lot sloppier starting now. All right, let me rewrite this as the derivative of sine x cubed times x10, and then the derivative of sine to the fourth x cosecant. I always do this. I always treat the last c as a parentheses. All right. Fun fact math. Bingo bongo. Ooh, I'm going to put that back. Wow, I instantly got more organized once it was for fun. Very funny. All right. Here, we said we need the product rule and the chain rule. Fine. Overarchingly, we're going to use the product rule. So I'm going to, again, put up my pattern where it's f g prime plus g times f prime. I'm going to label everything just to keep myself honest. I'm going to label this f, I'm going to label this g. Bada bing. First thing I always do when I'm filling in the patterns is A, write out the pattern. B, I'm going to rewrite the ones that I just get to rewrite. Right? I'm going to rewrite the first here, no thinking involved. I'm going to rewrite the second one, no thinking involved. Now I'm going to find the easier derivative to do. It's definitely x to the 10th. A little bit of thinking involved, write g prime. And now we're going to find f prime, and I'm actually going to do that off to the side. Some scratch work. The derivative here, we have to use the chain rule. So the outside function is sine, the inside function is x cubed. The derivative of sine is cosine. Rewrite the inside. Do not do both derivatives at the same time. One derivative at a time. And then, once I've done the derivative of sine, rewritten in the middle, now I do the derivative of the inside and multiply it at the back. Bada bing. I've done my hard thinking, and now I get to write this here as an organizational thing. That's a finished answer. If we wanted to take this derivative, we could simplify this a little bit, but again, not necessary. All right, next fun fact. We're going to take the derivative of sine to the fourth divided by cosecant. My overarching pattern here is quotient rule. So I'm going to make a big quotient rule thing where it's the bottom times the derivative of the top. How much room do I need for that? Honestly, not that much. Nice. Minus the top times the derivative of the bottom, and then the bottom squared. That's my quotient rule pattern. I'm going to go ahead and write in that this is f, that this is g, that this is g, that this is f prime, that this is f, this is g prime, and this is g. You might think Miss Johnson's only writing these things because she's trying to teach us. No, this is how I actually write my notes. I write these little g's and f's. This is an organizational tactic for myself. I think it's a really good one. You should use it. But this is not me like whatever, like holding your hands. This is just how I take notes. I take like I write fast. It's easy to take notes. It helps. Okay, so we've put down the pattern. We know exactly where everything should go. Now we're going to start filling it in. We're going to fill in the denominator here, no derivatives. We're just going to fill in the denominator here because that's what the pattern says. We're going to fill in the numerator here. No thinking involved, just writing stuff down. And now I've got a little bit of thinking to do. G prime is the easier derivative because we have it on our note sheet. We know that the derivative of cosecant is negative cosecant cotangent. Bada bing. So a little bit of thinking, but honestly, it's mostly just seeing your notes. And then this one is the one we need to think about. This is one we need to use the chain rule for. So off to the side, I'm going to rewrite sine of x to the fourth as sine of x to the fourth. And then I'm going to say the derivative, the outside function, is something to the power of 4. So its derivative is 4 times something to the power of 3. I took the outside derivative. I'm not doing two things at once, so I'm just rewriting the middle. And then I'm taking the derivative of sine in the back and multiplying cosine. Now that I've done that, I'm going to write it where it belongs in my pattern. And bada bing, finished question. All right, that's that for that, y'all. If you need any help, come to office hours, message your friends, ask the internet, call your mom, whatever. The worst thing you can do is sit at home and be stressed about calculus. That's completely awful, and you should reach out for help if that's happening. Thanks, y'all. I'll see you on Tuesday.